So I was going over the positives of including animal products into my diet. And the positives were not as great as when I just eliminated all vegetables. So the positives were more satisfying meals, having to eat less to feel satisfied. When I ate meat for the first couple months, I noticed that my energy really increased in the gym and during my exercise routines. Um, Compared to when I was a vegan, I felt like I had no energy. I had no desire to really lift any weight or um, cause myself to strain. It's really interesting because as a vegan, I was really into running a lot. I was running and jumping and doing cartwheels and all these things, not really enhancing my muscle tone at all. Still bloated, still depressed, and I realize now that I think I was really just like this adrenaline junkie, you know? So, anyway, how about we go over some of the foods that you can eat when you're first incorporating meat into your diet to lower, bloat, to help with acne, and to help raise your mood and energy levels. Um, so, let's see. When I first started incorporating meat into my diet, it was like a little investment, and I would go to the fish market or the meat market and I would get like a really expensive looking pork chop or a really nice, we got swordfish once, and because my mentality was that meat was a treat and kind of for the more, I guess, more affluent people in the world. And actually, when you think about it, you feel better when you're investing in yourself. And it's weird when you start buying food that is more substantial, you start spending less money on things that don't mean anything to you. It's really, really interesting. But so I would do intermittent fasting and I would have like a big meal of like pork and a lot of kale, sauteed kale, and maybe some bacon or something like that. And then I would go to my karaoke show. I used to run a karaoke show out on Tybee Island, and I would go to work from about 11 p.m., about 9 p.m. to 4 in the morning. And I'd come home and I would binge out on almonds and pistachios. So I wasn't eating enough food. And then the next morning I would be bloated. I would look like I was pregnant. But I'd be like, man, I'm doing something right because I'm not starving all the time, you know? And I was like, I would never be able to do this eating vegan because I'd always have to have like a smoothie and then a salad and then like fruit on hand. Um, and then, maybe I would need an avocado or something. And then when you add the fruit with the fat from the avocado and the fiber in there, that's when you start getting some really bad bacteria overgrowth. You get SIBO that way. Like that is definitely how I got SIBO. So I got so desperate because I was newly living with my boyfriend and I felt really unattractive and really gross because I had terrible gas and not fun. So I contacted somebody named Dr. Fuchs, and he's affiliated with um, not Young Living. What is that vitamin? It's a vitamin company that Alex Jones supports, and he does like the tangerine, uh, like I don't know. He does like the powders and stuff. But this guy, Dr. Fuchs, he sells all that stuff. And he kind of schooled me on how to fix what's called H. pylori. And I fit the description perfectly for somebody with H. pylori. You know why? Because I worked at Whole Foods for several years, and every single one of my meals consisted of a salad bar. I worked at Whole Foods morning and night, and I hung out there all the time. So all the food I ate was exposed to air. And what he taught me was that sometimes there will be bugs. Age what? Um, like what? How old was I? Um, when I was 20, I think I was 28 to 30. Yeah, I was like 28 to 30 and a half. 28 to, what? Oh, H. pylori. It's called H. pylori. H, like hat, H. pylori. That is, and it's basically how you would get an infection. How you get an infection called H. pylori is a little bug. A little bug will land, like a fly will land on food that's got exposure to air. Perfect, perfect example is a salad bar. So a fly will land on the salad and it will do its little, leaving some eggs behind. And you will eat that and it will create tiny ulcers inside, I believe it's inside of your stomach. If your stomach acid doesn't kill the bacteria that starts kind of thriving there because your stomach acid is so low, it's going to travel down into your intestines and cause what we then call small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, and it's like full-blown H. pylori. So he taught me to do this, and this worked for me, but it wasn't sustainable. It's very expensive, and it's not diet based, it's supplement based. The supplements were in, okay, he had me purchase enzymes, digestive enzymes. He had me purchase hydrochloric acid, HCl, with betaine. I think it's called betaine. And he also had me get a very potent probiotic and a mineral supplement. So these are all wonderful things, right? In the morning, on an empty stomach, he had me do the, forget the regimen. It was very, very, you know, particular. But the probiotic was supposed to be taken without food at all. And the HCl was supposed to be taken with your first bits of food, and the enzymes were supposed to be taken before your food. So it was a very strict regimen, but the thing that was interesting about it was I was not allowed to eat nuts, and I could not change my diet at all. So I thought that was very strange that he said that. He said that I sounded pre-diabetic according to my weight at the time. I was like 134, 132 at the time. I'm now 120, 121. I weighed in at 121 this morning. And let's see. So he said I seemed pre-diabetic because of the acne and because of where I was holding my weight and because of the bloating and because of the fatigue. lots of things. He said not to stop eating fruit. And I was like, but I think that's what's helping me. And he's like, if you change your diet right now, it's just going to mess you up. And I was like, I don't know. So I did his regimen for about a month and I saw my skin start to get clear. But when I stopped his regimen and I was still eating fruit with meat products and greens and things, I was like, holy shit, my acne's back and my cravings are back. Yeah. So everything came back once I stopped the mineral supplement, the probiotic supplement, the HCl supplement, and the enzyme supplement. So once I could no longer digest the things that I was putting into my body, all shit broke out and I was unhappy again. And I could not like afford $300 a month on all these fucking supplements. Sorry, but it was ridiculous. So let's see. I was running barefoot a lot at the time, and I was feeling like And I was doing lunges and all these things in the sunlight. I was living down in Georgia, and I was like, why the hell am I not, you know, able to heal this stuff? I could do this like temporarily with all these supplements, but not fucking permanently. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to just like feel normal, and I wanted to feel beautiful. You know, the struggle. Yeah. It's it damages the self-esteem when you look around and you see people doing several things. You see people enjoying life. You see people able to make eye contact. You see other people able to laugh and relate. And you see them eating shit. Absolute shit. And you're like, how are you doing this? And a lot of times when I was bold enough to ask people what the hell made them able to do, like my sister, for example, um, so she, let's not talk about my sister. I love my sister. I don't want to talk about her stuff. She, she's amazing. My friends, I would be like, why is it that you can have dairy, gluten, and all this stuff and you don't like get upset? And they're like, well, I take antidepressants. And I'm like, okay. And then I would realize that they were overweight. And I'd be like, okay, well, they're happy with themselves. So I guess that's okay. And then I would see some people who had acne and they were super, super skinny. And I'd be like, what the hell? What are they doing? And it was that they were, you know, anorexic and bulimic. They didn't eat any food, and it came out like this. But they prioritized their figure over their like face, and it was like they hated society or something. Um, but then you have some people who do some other things, like they're on some kind of like weight loss supplement, or you know, they're not really fixing problems, and down the road, you know, you can see them either just kind of spin out of control and then find themselves, you know, really suffering in something unforeseen. Anyway, what I noticed over the years was that it was just really not it just didn't seem like a real natural, authentic place. Yeah, it's very complicated. Mr. Cast, you are very, very wise, sir. Um, and, you know, as a Whole Foods and a Trader Joe's employee, I was like exposed to so many different things all the time. And I gotta tell you, some of the people that seemed the most mentally, uh, you know, mentally sound were the people who were buying the meat products. And I was vegan at the time, so I did not want to really examine that, but I'd be like, that can't be for her. You know, I had a woman who used to look like, she looked like Maria Emmerich. She's like the keto health and fitness person who has all these wonderful cookbooks out. You got to check her stuff out if you're starting keto. But Maria Emmerich, she's buff, but she's really, really, like, really thin. But you could see she's ripped. And this lady used to come through it with all this meat, and I'd be like, what the hell is she up to? And then I had another lady who had a child, and she was a Zumba instructor, and she said that she was giving up sugar, and I saw her every single day for about a week. She looked like she was going to like jump off of a cliff. She looked so depressed. And the last day I saw her before like she vanished forever, she was buying a whole bunch of fruit and like the Lara bars and dried dates and stuff. And she was like, I can't live this way. I was like, that's really interesting. I think we have an addiction problem here. I think sugar is a bigger problem than people want to admit, and they are not going to ever admit that the beautiful, brightly colored, happy-looking food that we are given to, you know, select from is actually not the natural stuff that everybody thinks it is. And my boyfriend was like, this morning, he was like, you know what would be a fun experiment, just a thought experiment, asking vegans how they would forage through the forest just as like fruitarians. How long would that last? And I was like, yeah, how long would that last? You'd get a bear looking for honey. You'd get like, all sorts of wild animals competing with you for fruit. I mean, it's not like you'd all be like peacefully, you know, uh, just gorging on bitter fruit that is a lot smaller in nature than, you know, in Kroger or supermarket. Anyway, so okay, I'm off topic. I'm so new at this stuff. It's so funny. Ah, food that I eat. So I had, um, last night I had steak. It was pretty raw. It was just like seared for less than a minute on both sides. And I had some chicken liver on the side. And that was really satisfying. Like the day after, I'm like not hungry at all. And I felt amazing in the gym today and just feel great. I just feel great. The day before, we were on a canoeing trip. I brought okay, so on a canoeing trip, I brought some nuts and stuff, and I felt like butt. Like I was like, this is so gross. Nuts after you've been eating meat for a while, it just does not taste right. It's just like, what is this stuff? It doesn't feel like food. But when you can incorporate nuts, I incorporate nuts. I love macadamia nuts. Yeah, they're very hard to digest. So I eat macadamia nuts if I'm intermittent fasting. Like, say it's like 3 o'clock, I felt fine, and then 3 o'clock came, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta eat something. And what I do, I'm like out in the community a lot. So if I'm at a store or something, I'll buy some macadamia nuts, and then I'll wait to go home and have like a really nice steak or something like that. But yeah, they're just very temporary satisfying and they're hard to digest. Definitely. It changes the stool as well. Um, and yeah, they're not very satisfying. So what else? I I don't really eat like heart or any of the organs that people talk about a lot, but I'm gonna buy Tristan from Primal Edge's book that his wife created, and I'm gonna like try some of their like heart recipes and stuff. Three Ridge, he likes to eat a lot of the raw stuff and fermented stuff, and I'm not there yet, but kudos to him. I do put some raw duck eggs on top of some like barely cooked meat sometimes, so I like that fatty, consistency. And I realized that because I haven't eaten cheese like religiously since I was 12 because I got the lactose intolerance diagnosis then. I really appreciate the creaminess of a yolk because uh, it just has that like consistency. I don't know how to describe it. It's nice. Anyway, so I don't eat chicken eggs. I eat duck eggs. I don't eat any dairy because I'm lactose intolerant. Although Three Ridge has really, with his YouTube videos on reconstituting your your lactase enzymes through drinking raw milk with raw meat. That's kind of intriguing to me, but I haven't really gone there yet. Um, and and what else? And I drink coffee. I drink coffee, and to substitute any kind of dairy, I will do an unsweetened cashew milk, which I want to get away from. Anyway, that's it for me. Boyfriend's home, so I am going to, yeah, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for listening and watching, and I will update you guys another